Hello and welcome to your third Android tutorial. I am Ashwin Balani and today we will be learning about Android fundamental controls. Let's start the day. Let's first understand the types of applications that you can build with Android. The first type of application that you can build is called as an activity. We have already seen quite a depth of activities. Activities are nothing but the interactions that that the user does with your application. So these are user interface screens for user interactions. One application can have multiple number of activities. For example, an application can have a splash screen, an application can have a login screen, a home screen, etc. So one application can have multiple screens or multiple activities. Each of these activity must extend the activity class. As we saw that public class main activity extends activity, where main activity was the activity and it extended the activity class. Each activity has multiple lifecycle methods. What are these lifecycle methods? Let us go a bit in depth of them. Lifecycle methods are nothing but the methods which are called throughout the life cycle of the activity. For example, whenever the activity is created, something called as onCreate is called. That indicates your activity is now created. When your application is closed, there is something called as onPause is called. Okay, so suppose you are working with your application on the cell phone and a call comes in between. When that call comes in between, Android will by default call the on pause of your application and make your application go in the background. When you complete your call and you press the end button on the call, the application will be resumed. That is, the application will again come forward and Android will call the on resume method of your application. Okay, so these are called as life cycle methods of your Android applications. We have worked with on create. We will be working with on resume, on pause, etc. in the part of the course. The second type of application is called as services. Services are similar to activities, but they run in the background and they do not have a user interface. Okay, they perform in the background and has no user interface. They will run independently of the component who made them. For example, whenever you create a music player or whenever you start the music player on your device and you try to play some music, even if you come out of the music player, the music is playing in the background. Okay, this is because that is a music service that has been launched and it runs independently of the component which created it. Means you do not have to have the component on the front of the screen. Even if that component is in the background, that service will always keep on running. The third type of application that you can create is called as content provider. A content provider is nothing but an application that provides you content. Now, with your device, you can have various types of content like contacts, messages, call logs, etc. To get the content of all these applications, you have to use something called as a content provider. So they are used to share data between various applications. For example, if your application wants to get the data from the contact book, then you have to use the contact book content provider. Then data which is stored at a particular location. That location is called as URI or Uniform Resource Identifier. You can access it with the help of this address. Data is exposed in a simple table format. I hope all of you have used the Excel sheets. In Excel sheets, you have a table format where you have rows and columns. Similarly, data is also arranged in the form of rows and columns. At that URI, you have to just pick that data and use that data. For example, you can have a contacts provider, you can have SMS provider, etc. All these are types of content providers that you get with your Android device. You can write your own providers if you want. That is, you can have your data in the form of a table and you can store that data at a particular URI. If some other applications require that data, they can access it with the help of that URI. Let me give you a brief about what is a URI. Whenever you access google.com, on the web page address, you will write http:// www.google.com. This is called as the URI of Google, okay, or the URL of Google. In internet terms, it's called as URL, but when you are accessing that thing on the local device, it's called as URI. So that is the URI or the URL of Google. Similarly, wherever contacts are stored, there will be a URI or URL of those contacts. You have to just get the reference of that URI and use it to get that data. I hope we are making sense. Let's move ahead. The last type of application that you can create is called as a broadcast receiver. It is a component which will respond to system-wide broadcast events. Now, what can these events be? Whenever the battery of your device is low, then the device will have a broadcast that the device battery is getting low. Your application can receive that broadcast and perform some action. For example, if tomorrow you create a very good game, that game will use memory, that game will use brightness, that game will use sound, that game will use the actual battery of your phone. If the battery goes low below a certain level, then you can reduce the volume level, you can reduce the brightness level, you can reduce the sound level of your application or of your game so that the game goes beyond a certain period of time. Okay, that is the main application of broadcast receivers. That system will broadcast something. You have to receive that broadcast and perform some event according to that broadcast. For example, the other broadcast can be if there is an SMS received, if there is a call incoming, etc. All these are type of broadcasts that are given by the Android OS to all the applications. These applications just have to receive those broadcasts and then perform some activity on those broadcasts. This type of application will be called as a broadcast receiver. Okay, for example, SMS received a battery low type of broadcast. You can have your own custom broadcast, but that is very advanced stuff. We'll not be covering custom broadcast over here, but you will be able to achieve a position where you can just go to the internet, go to the developer.android.com portal and learn about all these things in a very systematic manner. Broadcast receivers do not have any user interface, but they can alert using various techniques to the user. Now, so far so good. Let's come towards something called as basic controls. The following controls are very basic in every application of Android. We have seen the text view. It is used to display some output text to the user. We have seen the edit text to take input from the user. Button for user interaction oblique the event that we saw in the last class, that is btn.set on click listener. And we had a toast that will be used to display a message to the user. Let's have a basic IO program that will use all the functionalities that we had in the previous slide. We'll create a new project with the name basic IO. I hope we are now clear with how to create a basic Android project. We go to file and say new Android application project. Here we give the project name, the package name, the version of Android, and then the title of the application. The layout must look something like this. First of all, make a guess which type of layout is this. Is this a linear layout? No, because a linear layout, all the controls must either be placed horizontally or vertically. But as you can see over here, controls are not placed horizontally or vertically. They are placed in a mixture of those. For example, this enter your name and this enter name, that is this text view and this edit text, are placed horizontally. But this enter name and this enter age are placed vertically. So this cannot be a linear layout. This type of layout is called as a relative layout. So this is your LBL name, this is your TXT name, this is your LBL age, TXT age, and BTN check vote. I hope you are making sense over here. Then this layout is called as a relative layout. Let's first see how the controls are placed. The LBL name control is placed on the top and left of the parent. Okay, LBL name is placed on top and left of the parent. TXT name is placed on top of the parent and to right of LBL name. Okay, so txt name is placed where? Top of the parent and to right of LBL name. LBL age is placed to the left of the parent and below txt name. Okay, this control is not below LBL name, this control is below txt name, and txt age is placed to right of this LBL age and below txt name. Okay, so let me repeat that thing again. LBL name is placed where? To the top and left of parent. TXT name is placed to right of LBL name and top of parent. LBL age is placed to left of parent and below TXT name. TXT age is placed below TXT name and right of LBL age. BTN check vote is placed below TXT age and the width of this is fill parent or match parent, and this is a relative layout. I hope the layout is clear to you. What you can do is you can pause the lecture for a while and copy down all the controls in your registers and make a point of the location of the controls as we had mentioned earlier. This will help you when we'll be doing this thing in actual practice. Let's move ahead with this. Now, in the main activity.java class, we have to get the reference to all the controls. That is the step one of every project. So how do we get the reference to controls? We say edit text, that is the control name, txt name equals to edit text, find view by id r.id.txt name. This txt name is the id of the control that we had given in the previous slide. Then similarly we will go for txt age and we will go for the button btn check vote. So far so good. We have created the layout in the activity main.xml file and we have created the Java code inside the main activity.java file. Now we have to make the layout responsive. That is, whenever a person clicks on check for vote, he should be informed whether he can vote or not depending upon the age given at the input. So let's display the vote with conditionals. First of all, you have to understand the thing that whatever input you will give inside the edit text txt age will be in the form of a string. You have to convert the string into an integer for comparison. That is, whenever you will write the conditionals for vote, you will say if age is more than 0 and age is less than 18, then you cannot vote. Okay, so in that case, this age should be an integer, not a string. But the txt age, whatever text you give inside txt age is in the form of a string. So you have to convert that string to an integer by saying integer dot parse int. In bracket you have to pass the name of the control dot get text dot toString, because you have to get the text from this control. The function parse int will take a string at the input, will convert that string into an integer and will give you at the output. Okay, so we have got age over here. Remaining part is very easy. You have to have a message, string message. Then you have to say if age is more than 0 and age is less than 18, then you will say message you cannot vote. Else if age is more than equal to 18 and age is less than 150, you can vote. Else you will say invalid age. You have taken the age, you have set up the message. Now you have to just toast this message at the output. So you will say toast dot make text. This is the get application context, comma, the name of the person dot get text dot toString, that is the name of the person, plus a space bar plus the message. So if the message is you can vote, then the output will be the name of the person, a space bar, you can vote. Okay, so this is why we have kept this space bar over here, comma, 5000 indicates we have to display this thing for 5 seconds. Dot show will show the toast at the output. So let's try to do this in actual practice in code. Let's do it for the basic IO application that we wanted to create. First of all, let's create the new Android project. So we'll go to File and say New Android Application Project. Over here, let's give the name of the project as Basic IO. Let's give the package name as com.fitech. Let's give the build SDK version to Android 2.3.1. Let's unselect the create custom launcher icon button. Click on next. Next. The title of the application as basic IO and press finish. Now, first of all, let me show you what layout we wanted. We wanted a layout like this. To create a relative layout, there are some steps that you should follow so that you will be able to create the layout much more quickly. First of all, count the number of controls that you want. We want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 controls on the screen. So let's add those 5 controls. Let's remove this hello world control from here and make the layout to be linear layout for now. Let's add the 5 controls. We want an edit text, a button, okay, and we also want a text view at the top of this. We want one more text view below this, and we want one more edit text below this. Okay, so that builds up the basic layout with all the basic controls. Let's change some properties of the controls. For the first control, we want it to be enter your name and the ID should be LBL name. Let's right click, edit text, enter your name, right click, edit text or edit ID, LBL name. Right click on this, edit ID and say txt name. As you can see, there's a small hint over here given enter name. This is called as the hint text. To give it, right click on this and say edit hint and say enter name here. This is a hint text that will be removed once the user clicks on this control, so that this will be just for giving the user some hint as to what to enter over here. Let's change the next text over here to enter age. I'll just misspell that. I'll just make it enter age again. Right click on this and say edit ID to LBL age. Right click on the control and say edit ID txt age. Right click and say edit hint and say enter age here, new numbers only. Okay, that indicates that we only want numbers over here. I just misspelled again. Just say numbers only. That's fine. I want the button, so I'll just right click on this and say layout width to match parent, because the button is completely filling the width of the control. Right click and change the ID of this to btn check for vote. Right click and change the text on this, check for vote. So far so good. Now we have to change the layout to relative layout. Now this will be the first time where we'll be doing something with the XML of the project. So to look at the XML, at the bottom where you have graphical layout, to the right of it you have activity main.xml file. Click on that XML file. You will be getting the complete code of your layout. First of all, we have to modify this code so as to fit our needs and so as to give this type of layout. Secondly, we have to first clean this source. So right click on this source, clean up, so that the formatting of the code is proper, and say OK. It will actually format the code properly. There's a star sign. This indicates what? This indicates that your code is not saved. So press Ctrl S. It will save the code. First of all, I want to change the layout type to relative layout. So let me say relative layout, and just copy this relative layout and paste it also at the ending tag. So now the tags are matching properly. You have the initial and the final tag as relative layout. One thing to note over here, all Android XML files should have this XML namespace. Okay, this indicates XML namespace of Android, http://schemas.android.com/apk/res/android. This indicates that this XML file is not a normal XML file. It is an Android based XML file. This is required whenever we'll be adding a new XML file. So we have to just copy this from here and paste it inside the new XML file in the base element of the XML file. Okay, now the text view, this is the first text view. This is placed to the top and left of the screen. So over here we'll come and we'll press enter, and we have to make it to the top and left of the screen. To know the properties of it, you have to type LAY and press Control space. It will give you a complete list of properties of the layout of the control. You have to say align parent top equals to true. Again enter layout. Align parent left equals to true. Okay, you can pause the video for a while and then you can see the property name is layout align parent top, layout align parent left, true. This indicates that this control will be at the top of the parent and to the left of the parent. Okay, now for the second edit text, press enter inside the edit text. The edit text should be top of the parent and to right of LBL name. To do that, we will say LAY layout, align parent top, true, because this is at the top of the parent, and we have to make it to right of the control LBL name. So we have to type LAY layout and we have to say to right of. Okay. Now, whenever you say to right of, you have to give the ID of the control to which this control should be right of. To give the ID of the control, you have to follow the given syntax. You have to say @ID. The meaning of @ is reference of. We have to say reference of ID. Which ID? We have to give the ID of LBL name. So I'll say LBL name. This indicates that this edit text is to the top of the parent and is to right of the LBL name text view. Similarly, let's come to this third text view or third control. This control is to the left of the parent and below txt name. So what we'll say LAY layout, align parent top is true. Sorry, align parent top. We have to say layout, align parent left is true because it's not to the top, just to the left of the parent, and this is below txt name. So I'll say LAY layout below @ID slash which ID? txt name. So I'll say this control is to the left of the parent and is below the edit text txt name. Similarly, for the second edit text, the second edit text is to right of LBL age and below txt name. So let's do that. We'll say layout. I'll say below @ID slash txt age and layout to right of @ID slash LBL age. So this edit text is to right of LBL age and below txt name. Moving along, we have the button. The button is placed below txt age. So I'll say layout below txt or @ID slash txt age, and this is to the left of the parent. So we can say safely layout align parent left equals to true. If you have followed along with the complete tutorial, you will be able to get the layout like this. See, there is some problem with the layout. Let's go and check what the problem is. I think that the name has gone behind. So the age is below txt age. That's fine. It should be below txt name. Okay. Now it's fine, perfectly fine. Okay, so far so good. So you have your layout built up. Whenever you will click on check for vote, you should be able to get the output. But before that, let's try to run this thing and check out if we can get the layout working on the screen. To run it, right click on the project and say run as Android application. It will load the project onto the device and you'll be able to get the layout working. Good. So now we have to make this check for vote button working. To do that, let's go to the Java code. Can you guess where the Java code might be? The Java code is inside src, your package name, and inside the main activity. Okay, we do not want the on create options menu, so I can remove it from here directly. Okay, now step 1 is to get the references of the controls. So we'll say final. How many controls we want over here? We want this edit text, we want this edit text, and we want this button. So I'll say final edit text txt name equals to edit text find view by id. How did I do this? By control space r.id.txt name. Similarly, I'll say final edit control space edit text txt age equals to edit text find view by id r.id.txt age. Similarly, I'll say final button btn check for vote equals to button find view by id r.id.btn check for vote. Let's go to step 2 to write the on click listeners. So we'll say btn check for vote dot set on click listener new on click listener. This is all happening with the help of the control space. I'll just import the on click listener over here. Okay, so far so good. Let's move ahead. To get the reference of the name and age over here, I have to convert the age into a string. So I'll say int age equals to integer dot parse int, which from where do I get the string? From txt age dot get text dot toString. This will get me the string form of age. I'll be converting that string from into integer form by saying integer dot parse int. Then I'll have a string message. And let's compare the age now. If age is more than 0 and age is less than 18, I'll say message equals to you cannot vote. Else if age is more than or equal to 18 and age is less than 150, we'll say message you can vote. I'll say else message is invalid age. Okay, now we have got the message with us. We have to just display this message to the output. That comes to step 3, displaying output with the help of toasts. So I'll say toast dot make text. The first argument is always get application context, or you can also give the context as the main activity dot this. Both are fine. You can give it like this as well, or you can give it like get application context. Both ways are fine. The second argument is the message that I want to show. Over here, I want to show the message saying the name of the person space the message. So I'll say txt name dot get text dot toString plus a spacebar plus the message. So the message will be you can vote, you cannot vote, or invalid age, whereas the name will get you the name of the person. Let's give a duration over here to say 1000 dot show. This completes the application. Let's run and see if we can get the output. Right click, run as Android application. It first uninstalled the application. Now it will install it and start the application on the screen. Now see, this is the hint text. When I click on it, and I'll just start typing, say PANKAJ, press enter. That hint text would go away. Let me give the age of the person as 16. I check for vote. Pankaj, you cannot vote. That's very, very correct. I'll give the age 34. Pankaj, you can vote. That's also very, very correct. Give the age as, say, 0. Check for vote. Invalid age. The program is working fine, but it is not working for all situations. For example, if someone gives the age as O, O is not a valid age, but someone can give the age as O. If someone gives the age as a non-numeric value, and if I press check for vote, as you can see, it will give sorry, the application has stopped unexpectedly. Please try again. This is because there was a runtime error in a project which we forgot to handle. Okay, so the error is in this statement where we are trying to convert from string to an integer. So how do we suppress runtime errors? With the help of the try catch block. So let me do a try over here. Put the complete code inside the try block. Okay, and in the catch block over here, in the catch block, you have to tell the user that something has gone wrong. So I'll just tell the user with the help of toast. Remember that we cannot use system.out.println over here because there is no output screen. You have to give, if you have to give the output, you have to show it with the help of a toast. As a toast.makeText. Let me give over here main activity dot this. So I have to show you that both the versions work fine. I'll just give the text as ex dot get message. It will give the message from the exception. Let me give duration as 1000 dot show. Now in case there's an error in the complete statement, the program will not force close. It will come to the catch block and it will give you the output as there was an error. So let's right click on this and say run as another application. Let's go on the device and check out the application. It is installing the application on the device. That's done. Let's enter the name over here. Say HARSHA. Let's enter the age over here to say 19. Check for vote. Harsha, you can vote. That's perfectly fine. If I'll give the age as 10 or I'll give a non-numeric age by mistake and check for vote. See, the application is not closing, but instead it is giving you an error. It is unable to parse 10 as integer. This will immediately prompt the user that you have given some wrong input and you have to change the input. Okay, this is what makes your code complete in all senses. That is, this code will not give you an error. Even if there is an error, it will give you a small toast message showing the error so that the user can correct it, but the application will not close.